Hello folks, welcome back. Let's discuss some popular test automation tools. Now, even though this course is intended to teach you Selenium WebDriver test automation, it is important to recognize that there are other test automation tools that are also very good. Okay, so let's discuss some of these tools. Okay, and a lot of these tools are in respective to front-end automation or UI automation. I didn't really list tools here that are for back-end automation, for example, like API test automation and so on. But there are other tools that can do basically front-end and back-end as well. Okay, now let's start with Catalan Studio. Catalan Studio is a very popular test automation tool. It is recognized for its record and playback capabilities. What that means is that you can basically record a test. Basically, the tool will record every single action you are performing on the web page. Okay, it will record that, and then basically you can just go into the tool and click play and just play back the test you executed, and it would recognize the page elements, and it would do a pretty good job at rerunning the exact same test you just executed. Now, the cool thing about Catalan Studio and some other record and playback tools is that you don't need to learn how to write any code at all. Like nothing. So that's just a piece of cake, right? And too good to be true, but it does work. Now the thing is that unfortunately it's not free, okay, and it could be very expensive. You actually wouldn't pay for it alone because it is kind of expensive. Now you have all the money in the world and you want to do it, go ahead, right? But most of us don't really have that kind of money here. Anyway, basically your companies would pay for these licenses, and it could be pretty expensive. So if you have a team or a company that has, like, let's say 10, 20, 30 QAs, the more licenses, the more money, and then it becomes a very expensive bill, right? So a lot of companies would prefer to go a cheaper route or just use open source tools, meaning free tools, for their test automation solutions. Okay, but again, it is a really good tool. Now, with these tools, I like to mention, and we'll talk about this again in the later videos, if you're struggling with the tool or there's an issue, they actually have customer support, so you can actually contact them and they should be able to help you for the most part. Okay, then there's Selenium WebDriver, which we will discuss more in the later videos. But then there are tools where you can use JavaScript. I mean, you can use JavaScript with Selenium WebDriver as well, but other tools like Cypress, WebDriver IO, and so on. So you probably may like those tools as well. And here we go with the topic of choosing the best tool for your team, right? If you have a team where most of your team members are comfortable with JavaScript, then you may want to pursue one of these tools. Okay, so the learning curve can be less curvy. Okay, now there are other tools like ServiceNow ATF. ATF stands for Automated Test Framework. ServiceNow ATF is ServiceNow's native automated testing tool. It's a really good tool to automate ITSM applications, scoped and global, and so on. But for pretty much for simple form filling and so on, it still has a lot of limitations though. But I'm sure that with time, ServiceNow will continue to improve this tool. But as of right now, it is not a good tool to automate customized ServiceNow apps. Okay. Then there are tools like APM used for mobile and desktop automation and other types of automation as well that are good. Mabel, Playwright is also another tool, just like Selenium. You can use Java as well. So if you really like Java and you want to use another tool where you can use Java, Playwright would be a really good tool as well. Okay, now, first of all, why so many tools? And well, first of all, that's good because there's competition between these tools. But I'll tell you this right now, a lot of these tools were developed to address, let's call them quote unquote, issues of Selenium WebDriver. Okay, and for the most part, they've done a pretty good job. Okay, for example, flaky tests, which we will talk about in the later videos. Okay, Now, Selenium WebDriver is king, still remains the king, but not by a lot. These other tools are also really good. And we also do have some other courses, by the way, where we're teaching some of these other tools. So go ahead and check them out if you like to learn them as well. Now, if new tools are coming out to address the let's say quote unquote issues of Selenium WebDriver, why don't companies just start using a new tool? Well, here's the thing. If a company has been using Selenium WebDriver and has already been automating hundreds and thousands of test cases, it really won't make sense to transition to a new tool, because that migration would be very time consuming. Okay, and you basically would have to re-automate all of those test cases again. Okay, so again, that would be very time consuming. So again, a lot of companies have been using Selenium WebDriver, but these are the tools that are really good. Question: if some tools are free, why would companies pay for tools? Why would they pay so much? Well, these are companies that understand the benefits of test automation. Okay, and it comes at a heavy price, but they also understand that learning Java or programming can be a big headache to a lot of team members in an existing team. So companies that have lots of funds will invest in something like this to make test automation easier for the entire team. And also, paid tools offer constant updates and support.